Yo, what's going on, guys? Want to make this video, and the reason I wanted to make this video is because, uh, growing up, I was never exposed to this stuff, and that it actually existed. And the reason for the title of the video, um, "Who Walked on Water Before Jesus," is because um, when studying other religions, you start seeing things that you find familiar, at least for me, because I grew up in a Christian household. And this is called the Longer Discourse on the Lion's Roar. It's in the Majjhima Majjhimina Nikaya, and the Middle Discourses. This is said to be written, see, well, originally passed down orally. These discourses, which is in the Pali Canon, Pali is a language, so these are the compiled texts in that language. Was written records of these discourses roughly they appear roughly around the second to first century BCE, before Common Era. But they were passed down orally, possibly from the sixth to fifth century before Common Era. So very, very early stuff when we're talking about these suttas, which are these discourses. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to read what is pertinent to this video. The reason for it is I want people to understand that you have to say that this is false fabrication, or you have to say that this actually happened. Um, and how do we account for it? How do we account for these miraculous things? So let's read it, and then you tell me what it sounds like. All right. So a little bit of a background is uh, there was a monk who disrobed, so somebody who was following the teachings of the Buddha and left, and now he's saying that he was telling a crowd in this place called Vesali that the ascetic Gotama has no superhuman distinctive knowledge and vision. Um, he teaches what he's worked out by logic, following the line of inquiry, expressing his own perspectives, and his teaching leads those who practice it to the complete ending of suffering, the goal for which it is taught. So Sariputta, who is Gautama, the Buddha's number one disciple, he's upset, and then he basically starts just going off on Sunakata, saying, his words are whack. I'm not going to listen to anything he says. And one of the things he says, and that why he won't, he says, there's no way Sunakata will infer about me from the teaching. This is what he says about the Buddha. This is what Sariputta says about the Buddha in possibly, let's just say first century before Common Era, right? It says that blessed one wields the many kinds of psychic power, multiplying himself and becoming one again, materializing and dematerializing, going unobstructed through a wall, a rampart, or a mountain as if through space, diving in and out of the earth as if it were water, walking on water as if it were earth, flying cross-legged through the sky like a bird, touching and stroking with the hand the sun and moon, so mighty and powerful, controlling the body as far as the realm of divinity. And there's no way Sunakata will infer about me from the teaching. That blessed one with clairaudience, that is purified and superhuman, hears both kinds of sounds, human and heavenly, whether near or far. And it goes much deeper. It goes into understanding the mind, all of that stuff. What I'll do is I will post the reference to the sutta or the discourse, so you guys can read it for yourself. But the reason I wanted to bring it up is because when you read the Gospels, you see Jesus walking on water. You see him feeding the 5,000. You see him walking through walls. You see him appearing and then disappearing. You see him ascending. Most people never told you that those same attributes, those same feats of psychic ability have been recorded about other people, such as the Buddha. And I don't want you to take my word for it. But the thing is, then we're left with the idea of who's telling the truth. And one of the things that we have to really contemplate is that this was written before Christianity uh, or the idea of Christ uh, in the Jesus that we see in the New Testament. And the same miracles, and these aren't the only two that miracles have been attributed to. I think even miracles are attributed to Socrates, and then way farther, Muhammad gets miracles attributed to him. But the thing is that we either have to believe all of them, believe some of them, or believe none of them. And because this is an earlier source, um, it's more likely that this is the original, meaning that the Christian story, uh, the miracles attributed. Now, it could be that they both did these things. It could be that neither of them did them, and it's just literature. Or it could be that one did it, and then someone found out about it and then attributed it to their person. That could be the case as well. But I was curious if anybody actually happened to know that those same miracles, those same psychic powers, walking on water, um, multiplying oneself, diving into the earth as if it were water, materializing, dematerializing, understanding the expansion of other people's minds, all of that was actually attributed to somebody else. So I'm curious if other people knew that or not. So I will post the sutta or the discourse in the description so you guys can read it for yourself. But I find it fascinating, and I just want people to be aware, be exposed to these things, that these things actually exist, that they're out there. You can read them. Um, and when trying to decipher truth, we think, oh, well, Jesus walked on water. Who else did? Well, Buddha walked on water. I mean, so that's not a good criteria for truth and validity of a statement or a claim, because it's attributed to more than one person. So that's that's kind of levels the playing field, so to speak. And when we're trying to understand what is truth, what can be verified, what is real, how do we arrive at quote unquote the true religion or true belief? Both of them walk on water, okay? Then we can't elevate one or the other on that status alone. We could elevate on ethics, maybe one over the other, whose ethics are more ethical. If you do that, then you really have to go with Jainism, um, in one regard for the total anti-violence, even of like hurting insects and things like that. But they also were involved in a lot of rigorous austerity to the body, barely eating, not bathing, um, things like that. And so that's kind of in the realm of reality, in the realm of, and we're talking about psychic, metaphysical things, so that's not really reality, but realm of like just everyday, day-to-day life, um, like who's anti-war, who's not, who's anti-violence, who's not. Uh, and you don't have with the Buddha, just as a contrast, you don't have a the father of the Old Testament who, commanded genocide, slavery, any of that stuff. The Buddha would totally be against slavery and genocide and anything like that, um, because of his the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. If you look at the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, you would see that harming others is cause and effect, which is karma, cause and effect. And to harm others is actually not good. It's not something we should do. And that would include war. And so, ethically, in essence, that would go over, in my mind, that would go over the whole go into this land, kill all these people, kill the men, women, and children, keep the younger virgins for yourselves, um, all of that stuff. Like human killing another human is a travesty, uh, and we shouldn't be cruel. We shouldn't do that. We should spread loving kindness to all. May all beings live happily. May all beings live free from suffering. And I think that is uh, that is a beautiful sentiment, something that we should aspire to, right? Wishing loving kindness on everybody. Um, I think that's important to make that distinction, especially nowadays. We have a lot of this Christian nationalism, um, which is trying to say America's a Christian nation and all this other stuff, which is just propaganda. I mean, Franklin Pierce didn't even swear on the Bible, and God We Trust wasn't even on the currency until the 1950s with Eisenhower. And so we really have to, Benjamin Franklin, if you read the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, he even states that, even in Pennsylvania, right, it is welcome for a Mohammedan to come and preach his message to the people. And so we really have to think um, about what we're learning, where we're learning it from, and if it's not from the sources themselves, then we should disregard them. And so that's why I went straight to the source, the Lions Roar discourse. Like I said, I'm going to post the description in here. I appreciate y'all for just checking it out, and I'm grateful that there's a platform like this where we could all engage with ideas and just human to human, mind to mind, thought to thought. Just try to hear each other out, understand each other, and spread loving kindness. That matters. No human is my enemy. My tribe is humanity, and I will stand on that. I will absolutely stand on that. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care.